He is the founder of Artingstall's brilliant, plain, is brilliant London Dry Gin, a brand, Artingstall, which is named after it's his mother's maiden name, actually. So let's bring him on right now to talk about that, Mr. Paul Feig. Paul, how are you?
Hello, Dan. How are you?
Oh, man, it's good to have you here. As I mentioned, I'm a big admirer of your work, and we're very happy you took some time to talk to us. I want to immediately raise a toast to you. I know you like the martini, but
Yes.
I went with the Tom Collins. Okay.
You know what? That is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with the Tom Collins. But to me, there's nothing more beautiful than a martini. A martini glass, just the shape of it. It looks great on screen and movies.
Well, I was going to say that as somebody who works in the film business, there's such a rich history. I mean, you can go back to Casablanca. What did he say? Of all the gin joints in the world, it was the most popular clear spirit in America prior to Prohibition.
Oh, totally. Because I'm a big William Powell fan, and just watching
Thin Man
movies, all the other ones, they're all just constantly drinking these gin martinis or gin cocktails. And so I just kind of went, I want to become a martini guy, but there's something about like a vodka martini didn't seem right. And then I started reading about martinis and just kept reading like a real martini is a gin martini. And so just one day when like, I'm going to teach myself to like gin. And that was when I kind of, and back, this was, number of years ago when you still was kind of, all the regular ones were all you had the option for. And so kind of made myself get used to that super juniper-y thing, which I didn't mind, and kind of grew to love it. But at the same time, I was always like, oh, there's gotta be a better way to do this. And then it was when I had my first Hendrix, like right when it had first come out, like a friend of mine brought it back from the UK. It was like, you gotta try this. Then I was like, oh my gosh, so this is kind of what gin could be too. And so then started realizing, oh my God, there's so many different tastes of gin and so many different ways to do it. And then my wife and I travel the world, and when I make my movies, I'm traveling, and just anywhere, any country we would go, I would try all their gins and just saw so many differences, but then started seeing the things that I wished a gin would be. And basically just said for years, if I could ever have my own gin, I know exactly what I wanted it to taste like. And it basically is what you've got in your glass right there. I wanted it to be very friendly. I wanted to make what I call a gateway gin, which is for people who go like, oh, I don't like gin. You go like, okay, good, try this. I want to be the one you graduate from vodka from, because look, I love vodka. Vodka is a great thing, but vodka feels a lot of times like sort of the amateur spirit, because it doesn't have any taste, obviously. And, to go from that to like a Junipero or a Berry Brothers #3, where you're like, wham, and you get socked in the face with all that juniper, I wanted to make sure I could kind of transition you in. And so that's exactly what we did with this.
So everybody knows this is what's called a London Dry Gin. Okay. So, despite the name, London Dry Gins can be made anywhere in the world. And in fact, Paul, you're working, and make sure I get this right. Is it Minas Craft Brewery Distillery? Minas, and they're from Calgary, but they also have a distillery in Wisconsin, correct?
Yeah, in Monroe, Wisconsin. Yeah, so all the distilling tends to go on in Monroe, but they're also like the 7th biggest brewer and distributor of beer in North America too.